Hey guys, welcome to the Bird Brothers episode 10. So, for all of you who thought we weren't going to make it to double digits, here we are. We're going to talk about the return of Carson Wentz to Philly. Carson Wentz facing off against the Eagles for the first time since he's left Philly after the worst quarterback year I've probably ever seen as a fan. Um, and then Super Bowl winning head coach Doug Pederson comes back to face Philly with, I think, an absolute stud at quarterback. So
Yeah.
I'm rooting for Doug personally, but let's start with Mr. Carson, Ryan. First question is, how do you think the fans will embrace Carson?
Um, I think it's gonna be majority will embrace him, cheer for him, clap, stand ovation type thing. But it is Philly, and we know what they do. As we've seen before, they threw snowballs at Santa, um, and they boo guys when you were sure that they were gonna come out and get a standing ovation. There's no reason to boo the guy. You know, it's I don't think there is. Because it's like we would have never won a Super Bowl, the first ever in the history of the Eagles, first ever Super Bowl. We would have never won that without Carson Wentz. And anyone who says that if Nick Foles started Week 1, we would have never won a Super Bowl, maybe not even made the playoffs. Nick Foles just had the ride of his life, came in, and I love Nick Foles. I always have. I liked his character, and he's done great. He had that one great year with us before the Super Bowl, and then so I have nothing, but like obviously it was in the moment, it was hard to watch sometimes, just seeing him do stupid things that we knew he could do, like the simple throws, getting rid of the ball. It just seemed like every year it got a little worse. Um, so I don't have a lot of confidence. I've read a little bit on their training camp, for the whole, uh, their training camp for the whole, this like going back and forth. Some guys are saying, it's that he struggled in camp, but then other guys are coming out and saying, like we think he's played really well. Like this is the main reason. Like Terry McLaurin said, he was the main reason he re-signed. So it's an interesting thing. So McLaurin's got confidence in him, you know, whether or not everyone else does, I don't know. But I have seen training camp and he has struggled. I think Monday he threw 3 interceptions in one little session. So he's got the weapons. I think it's all a mental thing. One thing I saw was Montez Sweat was running him down on the opposite side. Carson scrambled, and Montez Sweat was literally yelling, "Get rid of the ball," as he's chasing him. So that just tells you these guys want him. They know what he can do, and they're just trying to help him get back to that. And for whatever reason, he doesn't. He pauses. I'm going on a rant here, but like, it's honestly frustrating to me because I like Carson. I want to see him succeed. Um, but it's frustrating. Like he'll roll out of the pocket, he'll miss guys, and then instead of throwing the ball away, he ran out of bounds, lost like 3 or 4 yards. That's like rookie mistakes. That's like guys that weren't supposed to start as rookies, but they ended up starting because of injuries or whatever. That's just can't happen in your 7th year in the league. Uh,
Yeah.
it's frustrating to watch. Uh, I am glad he's not an Eagle anymore because of stuff like that. It doesn't seem like he's fixed it yet.
Yeah. So I think the fans are going to boo the shit out of him. I think they're going to boo, boo, boo. And mainly because of him requesting a trade. Um, and then going off to Indianapolis, being reunited with Frank Reich, right, which the media and whoever else portrays him as the secret to the Super Bowl. And then he had a decent year. He had a pretty good year. Fell off at the end, but he had a good year. He threw 27 touchdowns. He had 7 interceptions, I think. Had some crazy top end plays and some horrible bottom end plays, which he hasn't been able to eliminate. I think the fans will boo him for those reasons because I think he's kind of turned into he. I mean, I like him. I like his conviction and his like beliefs spiritually, and I heard he's a hard worker, and he certainly had like an enormous amount of belief.
Yeah.
As you said, he got us to a Super Bowl. Yeah, man. Anybody who says Foles would have done that from the beginning, totally disagree with, dude. Like Carson came in. I've heard Jason Kelsey say he transformed their offense, and
Yeah.
it's a talent thing. It's also a belief thing. Like if you're riding with it, like everybody believed in Carson.
Yeah.
They always believed they had a shot. That was special, and so it's so shocking that it's just like took a horrible downward spin, and like I think it did get in his head, and perhaps the injury really jacked him up, man. That first tearing of the knee.
He had a lot going on, man.
Huh?
Like he had a lot going on, like the injuries. I think he got married recently, had a baby, bought a new house. Like that's a lot. Like to think, and people don't think about that as these are just people. They're
Right.
just people who are very like athletic, very good at one thing, and they think, "Oh, he can't play football." It's like you don't know what's going on behind the scenes, with whatever marriage, kids, moving, buying a new house. Like you went from being this country boy to now you have millions and millions of dollars. You tore your knee. Like it's a lot to take in, and some guys can handle it and some guys can't. Um, I do think I would hope that they're not going to boo him because without Carson Wentz, we don't, like I said, we don't have a Super Bowl. Um, and yeah, and the whole I've seen people upset. We paid him $100 million. We what 830 million or something like that. And it's like that's not his fault.
I didn't pay him anything.
Right. Well, I didn't
The
have any,
Eagles did.
but what I'm saying, like, that's not Carson's fault. You know what I mean? That's our front office fault for paying a guy. I don't want to say too early, but a guy coming off a knee injury, coming out like all these things to throw that money at him.
Hey, who's to say? Like we've looked at his numbers before. He's had good numbers. Yeah, he
Yeah,
had 1 year that stood out. He's had good numbers. He had more than one good year in Philly.
yeah,
Yeah, he had the great year, but then he's had good years since then. He got us to the playoffs with nobody to throw to. Nobody.
yeah.
That's very special. Clowney knocked him out of the game. That's horribly unfortunate. Then the next year, he was horrendous. He was terrible. Maybe that's a concussion thing. Maybe it was, I don't know what it was. He was horrible. No excuses for that. But he bounced back last year and played better. Who's to say if he didn't force a trade, who's to say he wouldn't still be our quarterback? Like after that year, guys, I was totally done with him. I was so happy we got a first round pick out of that. So happy.
Yeah.
Wrong, but what could he have done with a clean slate with Nick Sirianni, Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, Dallas Goedert, Miles
But
Sanders?
at the same time, it's we know. Well, we don't know, but we think our theory is that he's some type of mental. There's some type of mental thing going on, which is changing the way he plays. If you have all that going on, you're not playing at a high level like you used to, and then they go draft a quarterback in the second round. That's just another thing they piled on. So I understand it's a business. I understand it for the Eagles aspect. Like, we don't know what we have in Carson. We don't know if he's ever going to be back. Let's go get this guy who we like, who we think we can build, and that's fine. But then,
They did that after he had a good year,
yeah,
and they did it after they paid him.
yeah, which is a telltale sign to me that they had no confidence in him after they paid him. So they paid him, and then they were like, "Ooh, maybe we made a mistake. Let's go draft Jalen Hurts." So as a fan, I'm not mad at Carson Wentz for requesting a trade. Think of it as this: you only have so many years to play, and maybe not even at a high level. Carson hit a peak very early, and then kind of has leveled off, not played great. Statistically, though, I'd like to compare him last year to Jalen Hurts last year. So I'd like to compare their stats. And I think people dog Carson Wentz so much, like, oh, he's terrible because he hit such a high point that now that's like what you expect. It's like if you come in day one on a job and you just absolutely kill it and break your back because you're trying to impress your new employer, your new bosses, things like that. And then okay, now that's the pull. That's what you need to hit every single day. And if you don't, then you suck, and we're gonna replace you. Think about it as like that. I mean, I don't blame him for requesting a trade. It's unfortunate how it worked out. In a perfect world, it would have been awesome to see Carson just ride out that, crazy MVP caliber season, but it's also not realistic. There's not very many guys that can do that. But like I said, I'd like to look at stats. People need to kind of realize what Carson had as far as talent around him, as like the skill positions and the numbers he put up, and then look at Jalen Hurts with Devontae Smith, new coaching staff, all that stuff, and compare. And for the people out here saying, great season, and it was for what we had. It was basically a blank slate, fresh start. But you can't tell me that's a great season and we're really happy with that. Like, we just got to build a little bit, and then tell me Carson Wentz last couple of years were awful. Because I'm guessing he outperformed Jalen.
Yeah, he did. So these are the numbers for last year. This is, of course, Jalen's first year as a starter.
Yeah.
Man, it's like if you could combine those two players, if you could give Jalen, and I'm not even talking about Jalen's running ability. We don't need that. I mean, he's great. I would love to have that, but I'm just talking about his mindset and Jalen's leadership and Jalen's, from what I hear, from what I can see, his stoic mentality, his ability to rise to and meet any challenge. That mindset with Carson's run around, sling the ball, break tackles, standing in the pocket.
Yeah.
Has missed, break. I mean, he made incredible plays, man. Throw the ball 70 yards, falling down in Seattle. He did some incredible stuff. So here's the numbers. Jalen Hurts last year, 3,144 yards passing, 16 touchdown passes, 9 interceptions, a QB rating of 87.2.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz, 3,563 yards passing, 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, quarterback rating of 94.6. And I would be interested to kind of drill down on that, as I didn't watch Carson. I would watch his highlights a little bit, but I know he lost to the Texans and lost to the Jags at the end of the year, I believe, and they missed the playoffs because of that. I would want to know, what were your stats in those 2 games? And was it in Jacksonville? I remember historically, they hadn't beat Jacksonville in Jacksonville for 7 years or something.
Yeah.
It was a long stint. So it was, they threw that on Carson, but I'd be interested to see how many picks did he throw?
Yeah.
What were your numbers going into that? Because that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I mean, I don't know how many quarterbacks threw as many passes as him and had a rating of 94.5. Don't know how many quarterbacks threw 27 touchdowns, but that's 11 more touchdowns. There's only 17 games in a season.
Yeah.
He threw 11 more touchdowns. That's a big deal, dude. What's the point differential in the NFL? How many blowouts do you see? How many times have we seen the Eagles lose 1-score games?
Yeah.
He threw 11 additional touchdowns. So still excited for Jalen, but if he can't throw, I don't want to get on the Jalen talk, but I think they will boo him. I think they'll boo Carson. That's my prediction.
Yeah.
I like Carson. I hope he does well, except for when he's playing us. And I hope, obviously, we win the division and they don't. I would love to see some good showdowns. I'd love to see him resurrect his career and give us fits, as long as we beat him. I wish him the best. So another question about Carson, then we'll go into Doug. Big Balls Doug. Or no, it was – Big Ball, yeah, Big Balls Doug when the season was in play.
Yeah.
I remember Bleeding Green Nation talking about Big Balls Howie in the off season and Big Balls Doug in season. And then there's, of course, Nick. He's not with us anymore, but okay. What was I gonna say? Carson, so how do you think versus us? First game in Washington, just the first game. How do you think Carson will play against us?
I don't want to be the guy that says middle of the road, just an average game. I want to, you want to be
Yeah,
great
it's gotta be dramatic.
yeah. So, I would lean towards if I had to pick one, I'd probably lean towards not great. I think our defense is going to be very, very difficult to play against. Um, I think we're going to be a lot faster. The addition of Bradbury is huge, and our D line's always been good at QB pressures. We didn't produce a lot of sacks last year, but we're pressuring the quarterback, which is fine. But it's only fine if your corners are covering. So if you pressure the quarterback, you can pressure the quarterback, 20 plays in a row. But if he's snapping the ball off real quick to a slant route because our number 2 or number 3 guy can't cover, then it really doesn't matter. So QB pressures can be, I don't know, they can kind of inflate a little bit. Like you're like, oh man, we were second in QB pressures. Okay, how many sacks do we have? Oh, we were 27th. Okay, well, how many of those times? Like, and then you got to go look at like, it's just you got to dig deeper and look. Okay, well, on his QB pressures, he got this slant route off, he got an out route off, screen. So those really don't matter unless you're sacking the quarterback. They matter, but they can kind of be misleading. So I think that was kind of our case. I think we pressured the quarterback a lot. We didn't produce a lot of sacks because I think quarterbacks were getting the ball out quick on us. This year, it's going to be a different story. We hope. I really do think it will be. With the addition of Bradbury, Maddox in the slot where he needs to be 24/7. Nakobe Dean will eventually get in there. Kazir White and TJ Edwards. Edwards is probably our weakest in coverage as far as our starters, I think. But he's still not weak. He's still better than what we had last year, I feel like. I feel like Edwards has taken, we've seen him progress each year. And in training camp, they're talking about, like, yeah, like we've seen a huge step. He looks great in coverage. He looks great in the run game. So I don't think he'll play well against us. I think we're going to give him fits. And partially because we know what he is. We know he's kind of I'm not comparing him to Aaron Rodgers, but that type of guy where he can extend plays. I think it's going to be hard for him to get out off the edge. But yeah, that'd be my prediction. I would lean towards not very well. I don't see him coming out and slinging it all over the field on us.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't think he'll play well, is what I'm going to predict. Here's the thought process on it. Because initially I was like, man, he could come out and just kill us. I don't know. But then I thought, well, because, why would you think he would kill us? Well, like, he's going to be really motivated and pumped up. And I thought, that's never been his problem. His problem still to this day is he won't calm down. On the field, he gets so hyped and he's like revving, he's like redlining, and he won't throw the ball out of bounds. He won't give up on a play. So he forces it. He takes a sack. He gets a strip fumble. He runs out of bounds and loses 6 yards. So I think he's going to be running hot. Maybe Ron Rivera can have a calming presence on him and help him. I think he's going to, in typical Carson fashion these last couple of years, like, try to do too much.
Play the ball too much.
Also, I think Gannon, our defensive coordinator, even though we want him to come after and like play press man with these corners and come after him, playing press corner, your corners can get beat up. We don't have a lot of depth. Maybe we'd see more of that down the stretch. I think we can still see the soft zones.
Yeah, I do too.
And I'm not super confident Carson can be patient, sit back, and pick that apart. Like,
it's to me, honestly, like, and now this is like not anywhere near in the same universe, but like playing pickup football game stuff, for me as a receiver, like running out, it was harder for me to get open when people played off. Like, I hated when people would be like 10 yards off. It's just like, man, like, I just play up here so I can beat you.
You got to play. You got to be patient.
Yeah, and
play this long game. Like,
and Carson,
take what they give you. Take what they give you. Carson's not good at that.
He's not patient. And like what you're talking about, being like revved up and being hyped to go, play against the team you used to play for. And if you look at the guys like historically that come out and like destroy their ex team, they don't come out like fired up and talking all this trash. It's like the calm, cool collective. They just come out and just destroy you, and they're quiet. They don't do anything. I really think like a guy I love, like, honestly, maybe my favorite quarterback to watch play is Joe Burrow right now. The guy is just even keel. But then you'll see like a lot of people talk about like him and Tom Brady, the mentality of like calm the whole game, calm the whole game. And then like I remember the game where he was wired, like and he like walked out on the field and like they're walking out and it's like the game winning drive. He's like, all right. And they're like, all right, what are we doing here? He's like, oh, we're gonna go win this game. And he's like, well, like, but he's not saying it like cocky, like, oh, I'm talking like he literally in his head is like, yeah, we're 100% gonna go win this game. And then they go down and win. Like, it's not like a mentality of like, oh, like start screaming and getting all hyped. Like he legit is 100% thinks he's going to go down here and win this game.
Yeah.
And that's never been something that I've seen. I've never seen the, well, I can't say never, but I don't remember seeing it often with Carson, where like we walk out on the field and like it's, just confidence, just walking and just hit your throws. I see it in Jalen. I just don't see the ability. Like, I think he has the mindset. I don't think he has the ability yet. Hopefully he does, but
we'll have to cut this short. We got 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Doug.
Yeah.
You think the fans will embrace him?
Nah. Yeah. I mean, I don't think he's going to get as much. I think there's more of a chance of Wentz getting booed than Doug. And I'm still surprised that they fired Doug. But I have confidence in the roster of Doug, like of the Jags, like that he has there. But I don't have confidence in his ability to call a game. And Press Taylor's the offensive coordinator, which to me, I feel like he should just went out and got some high profile, like, but I think Doug does that. I think Doug goes and gets these younger guys who don't have a ton of experience so he can be the guy. Because if you go,
like maybe because that's kind of what happened to Doug.
yeah,
Doug just got a shot, and maybe he's not into the big names, or like we talked about earlier, like being able to market yourself. Like maybe he's not into that. Maybe he knows, like, dude, this guy's just as good. He's younger. He's got a fresh perspective. He's not set in his ways. Like, I don't know. You never know. That's how you find guys. So you think the fans will cheer for Doug or boo Doug?
man, I don't want to be the guy that says mixed bag, but like I do think that there's level-headed Eagles fans that will just be like, yeah, we won a Super Bowl. Sucks what happened, but great. But then there's also me guys that are just, I hate to say stupid. They're stupid fans for every team. But
Yeah, like the majority. Obviously both, but
yeah, I'll say majority will, cheer for Doug. He'll probably, give a wave to the crowd and they'll cheer. But there's going to be the guys that are screaming, just like the Wentz thing. So I'll lean, I guess. I think both will get more, claps than boos. But I think if anyone's going to get booed more, it's going to be Wentz. But I'm not intimidated by Doug's. Like, I'm not like him coming in. I'm not intimidated by his game plan or his scheme or at all. And I think the Jaguars have a good team. I think they obviously need to grow and they're very young, but I think they have a good team. And if he can figure out how to get Lawrence like operating at full capacity, like really, like they have some weapons like Etienne and Robinson, Christian Kirk, Marvin Jones, and Zay Jones, and they added Evan Ingram. And then they added obviously Trevon Walker and Devin Lloyd on the defense. So they have a good team, man. They're very young, but again, I'm not intimidated by Doug. I like the scheme or anything that he does. I was never a huge fan of Doug. But I was probably on the Frank Reich train where I liked, it seemed like when Frank Reich was calling the plays or doing the majority of the offensive stuff, like we did better. But again, we don't know what was what. We don't know how much he was doing. So, but yeah, I'm not intimidated by Doug. I think the Jaguars will be a pretty solid team. But I don't think they're going to be a threat or anything like that.
Yeah. So I think that Doug will get massive praise. I will be clapping for Doug. I will be cheering for Doug. I'll be rooting for Doug in the AFC. I like Doug. I love Doug. Like, yeah, there's sometimes I would like question things he would do, but then again, it's like, guy won the Super Bowl, went to the playoffs, like missed the playoffs his first year, then playoffs, missed the playoffs, got fired. I think that's what it was. 5 years. Went to the playoffs 3 out of 5 years.
Yeah.
First year he had a rookie quarterback. We missed the playoffs. Then we won a Super Bowl. Then we went to the playoffs and won a game. Then we went to and barely lost to the Saints. Then we went to the playoffs again, lost his quarterback in the first quarter.
Yeah.
BS hit. The following year, we have a terrible year. Our quarterback just plays horrendously. The Eagles front office drafted Hurts in the offseason. That was a horrible year. They say they're bringing Doug back. Then they have a meeting. Then they fire him.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want him. They didn't want to let Doug hire the coordinator that he wanted.
I think it was a mixture of that, and I also think it was a mixture of them drafting Jalen Hurts. Maybe Doug wasn't on board with that. Which, I mean, I don't think anyone was on board with that. If you'd asked fans, like, let's say before the draft, yeah, I remember watching it. We're literally in my living room, and we're like, what the fuck is, like, why? And especially we just paid Wentz.
He can't throw.
Yeah, and I have zero confidence in Tua's ability to throw the football, and Tua replaced him. Yeah. So, I feel like I always bash on Hurts, man, but like, it's not like I hate Hurts. I don't dislike Hurts, but I don't have confidence in his ability. But yeah, to close up, I know we're kind of on a time crunch. I think Doug will get more praise than boos. I think Wentz will get more praise than boos. But there's going to be boos no matter what. But not intimidated by either of them. So, yeah.
What do you think? Comment below. Do you think Doug Pederson will get praised by the Eagles fans? They'll cheer for him, or will they boo him? And Carson Wentz, when he comes back, when we see him again, will the Eagles fans cheer for him, or will they boo him? All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you guys watching. Please like and subscribe.